Welcome everyone to round number 2 of October 7th Gundam card game night over at Bulldog Community Gaming LC in Brownsburg, Indiana. If you guys are looking for a place to play some Gundam card game action, Bulldog Community Gaming LC in Brownsburg, Indiana is the place to be. 6:30 Tuesday night, $5 entry. As well, if you guys are unable to come but want to catch that Gundam card game action live, there are 2 links down in the description below to Bulldog's Facebook and Twitch page where you guys can catch the Gundam card game live Tuesday night, 6:30. So you guys can watch all that hot Gundam action. Or, of course, you can always tune in to here at Mama Dragon CCG for all of that hot Gundam action as well for these recaps. But anyways, we got 2 new decks for you all, and I will spoil it right now. I actually played both of these decks. This is my round 1 opponent, who is on green-blue Zeon Aggro, if I recall. No, he's on green-red Zeon Aggro, sorry. And then this is my final round opponent. He is on the blue-white Freedom Blockers. So we have a heavy blocker strategy against an aggro strategy. So we'll have to kind of see how this works, because again, aggro strategies can outpace sometimes blocker strategies. But blocker strategies are more nuisance to aggro strategies because they do have a lot of blockers that they can put up on the board. So, with that said, let us begin. Anyways, it looks like the right side player is going to be going first here. Nothing they can really do much with, so they're just going to add their 1 resource, and the left side player is going first here. As we see the Zaku 2 once again gets a +2 when attacking, and then we see the Zort coming down as well, immediately being able to immediately block out that Zaku 2 from immediately destroying the EX base. Ooh, not exactly the great thing you want to immediately see, but we're going to go for close combat, immediately killing off that Zort. It deals 2 damage to a unit. Very interesting card. It's kind of like Battle of Aces, but Battle of Aces only really does damage against a damaged unit. Close combat does it to undamaged. If we see an overflowing affection to immediately draw 2, discard 1. Like I said, I've already spoiled both of these. We have a red, again, on the left side, we have green-red Zeon Aggro, and on the right side, we have blue-white Freedom Blockers. So we'll have to kind of see what we want. So a striker pack here is very interesting. The pitch, typically you want to keep that for, especially for the aggro strategy like this, because of the fact of the matter that since this deck can immediately aggro pretty hard here, as we see the Char Zaku 2, but unfortunately we don't see the Char. Ooh, that kind of does suck, because we do have all the resources there to go immediately for the Char, and then the Char to immediately swing into a resource there, especially because Char does give a Zeon unit high maneuver. I don't see many pilots really in our opponent's hand here, besides maybe full frontal, but again, he needs the Sunju to come on down, as we see a Zord come down here to immediately start spamming up the blockers here, and then we're immediately going to pay 1 more, and we're going to go for the 𝐒𝐻𝐻 under the rift, just powering up the rift just a little bit more of that 2 and 1, giving it now a 4/5 buff there. It also can swing and, of course, can give -2 to a unit that it attacks for the turn. So anyways, we're going to go for the Char Zaku 2 on the swing. Remember, when on death, you look top 3 cards and add a Zeon unit. Why they printed unit on that card is beyond me. Because to my opinion, why not just say Zeon card? So anyways, we're going to see the overflowing effect. Show of resolve there, as we're going to see 2 more Char Zaku 2s coming down the board. Just a whole bunch of 3/2s that can, remember, search top 3 cards of your deck on death, and then grab any Zeon unit. Why it has to be Zeon unit is beyond me. Why it can't just be a Zeon card is with the Zeon tag is beyond me. Another overflowing affection to draw 2, discard 1. Again, digging for all our pieces here, Freedom Blockers, the Kiras, all our major blocker cards, our blue package, i.e. maybe he's just doing Show of Resolve, but he also could be doing like Papa Gundam. He can, of course, go for Armor Array as well to rest stuff here, because right now the aggro player is just setting up a massive board state that can, of course, while we only have 2 blockers right now, can still go through. So we see the OG Papa Gundam, so we are going to be searching. We're going to go for a 𝐒𝐻𝐻 on the Sword Strike. We're going to go after the Char Zaku 2, and we're going to bounce the Char Zaku 2 back to the hand. Again, once again, while linked, you are capable of while linked, you can bounce back a unit with 2 or less remaining HP on it. That Sword Strike Gundam should have taken at least 1 damage point on its hide, because of Kira effect only gives a -2 AP to the unit, and the Char Zaku 2 are 3/2s. So he should technically have 1 health point, 1 damage point on the Sword Strike Gundam. So we're immediately going to go for the Kshatriya, and then another Zaku 2 here as well. So again, the aggro side is just really trying to stabilize the board, but the problem is that Sword Strike is going to be destabilizing that board very fast here, because of the fact that since it's linked to Kira, and Kira is an Earth Federation unit, every time that thing swings, it just can bounce back something with 2 or less health points. So anyways, we're going to immediately go for a show of resolve to draw 2. Nice. Love that card 100%. It's interesting that only blue and white ever got really good draw support in the game. So literally, like, the only 2 colors that make sense to play in a lot of decks is like blue, white. But again, yeah, I mean, blue, green, like I said, Zeon Aggro feels like the normal Zeon Aggro. It is interesting to see people still are on red as well. But like I said, I did fight this deck with my red-blue cyber Newtype. Just barely got the win there, just barely. Again, aggro against mine. Sure, ping is real great, but if I don't see my ping card, sometimes it's not great. So anyways, we're going to see OG Propaganda. We're going to swing over the EX base there, and then we immediately are going to be able to bounce back to 𝐒𝐍𝐶 2. And our opponent right now is just struggling the fact that there are just 2 blockers there. So again, it's not great that you could get a blocker to go after, but the 𝐒𝐍𝐶 is the only thing that can actually kill the Sword Strike Gundam. The other 2 would have to be forced, so he probably, typically you wouldn't block on the 2 Zaku 2s. You would just basically let 1 swing into the Sword Strike Gundam, knowing it can't kill it. So anyways, we're going to then, okay, so I don't know, oh man, what is that one? I believe all your Zeon units actually get a buff here, so I believe that they get an AP +1. Because I think this is how this is going to have to kill off the, it has to at least get an AP +1. So the board has been quickly cleaned up there with that card. I forget the name of it. You don't really see much of it, but that is 𝐒𝐍𝐶 2. So the board is now stabilized once again for the aggro player here. And I believe they have the Sinanju in their hand. I know they have full frontal as well, so they have that. So anyways, we're going to go for the Archangel. Archangel is really strong in a blocker strategy like blue-white freedom blockers, because again, you can swing with a blocker and then pay to restand that blocker. That blocker cannot attack your opponent for the turn as well. And also, shout out to, of course, the Stoletta and the Witch archetype, as we bounce one of those other cards to, again, buff up our guy's attacks here as the OG Gundam attack. The Freedom Gundam is here, everybody. He's bringing the great chance of freedom. Again, his Kira is, of course, his Link pilot as well. We've already burnt through 2 Kiras, so there's only 2 more left in the entirety of the deck. We do have armor arrays still as well on the blue-white strategy. So basically, one thing we do need to do, and we do need to worry about in this strategy, is we do need to kill off that base. You can't let the Archangel, in my opinion, stand more than a turn. It needs to kill off in like 1 turn, as we see the other 𝐒𝐍𝐶 2 being taken out by the Freedom Gundam. We're going to look at top 3. Remember, we can grab a Zeon unit. So, that does suck when you can't see the Zeon unit. Like I said, I wish it was Zeon tag than Zeon unit. Why it has to be printed that way is beyond me. But like I said, the one problem that you will enter quickly is this, as we're going to bring out the big one, and we're going to put full frontal on it. Then we're going to bring out a Kshatriya, and unfortunately that unit that just got brought out doesn't matter. I believe when it has a stronger AP, it can do stuff. All right, folks, so a quick break here. I do have my binder of cards in front of me. We have the Shambolo, that's what's under full frontal. On attack, if you have 2 or more rested units in play, choose 1 enemy unit and deal 2 damage to it. That is on the attack. And then the green card that we saw is Citizens Take a Stand. It can burst, add itself to hand, and then all your units get +2 AP for the turn. So those are the 2 cards that we saw that I really didn't know what they did. And then Full Frontal has an effect during his pair as well. So anyways, back to it. We're going to immediately go back to the fact of the, we're still, I believe the turn has been passed, if not passed, because, is Full Frontal must be its Link pilot. Let me check that. The Shambolo, does he have a Link pilot to, Cyber Newtype or Cyber Newtype? So Full Frontal, I believe, is a Newtype or Cyber Newtype. So that's immediately just going to kill off the Freedom blocker there, the Freedom there, and immediately kill it off. Again, we can deal that extra, I don't know if it counts itself when it's in that rest mode. I think you have to have 1 other unit rested to trigger its win 3 damage here. So we're getting pretty high up there. Again, the Archangel is still standing, but it's not going to be useful this turn because OG Propaganda is not a blocker, so he can't actually get Archangel's pay 2 to restand himself here. We're going to go for a show of resolve and then draw 2. So now we'll have to kind of see what our blue-white blocker player wants to do from here. Right now, they only have an OG Gundam, but they are facing down 3 units, all of which can crack through the Archangel here, and then 1 can crack through it. And the problem is that Shambolo can be very dangerous here as well, because right now it is a 8-7 right now with 4 damage point. It does have 3 left on it, so the OG Propaganda can go and kill the Shambolo, but that will be the only thing it can do. So we are going to go after the Shambolo, knock it out which I think kind of makes sense. You can't let that thing sit on the board, especially if the 𝐒𝐓𝐄𝐄 and the 𝐒𝐓𝐃 2 swing, and especially if you're not having any blockers, which to me would be impossible in a deck that runs about 100 blockers. So we're going to go for the Perfect Strike Gundam onto itself, and then we're going to go for a Striker Pack Pain 2, and then we're going to make okay, so it looks like we're going to go for the 2/4 Launcher Strike Gundam as well. So we're 2 blockers up on the board, a 4/4 and a 2/4. Perfect Strike Gundam states on him, as we see, we go back to, of course, our other side. We're going to go for the 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 2. The 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 2 is going, I don't know why the 2/4 Launcher Strike Gundam disappeared off the board there. That is, that only had 1 point. It looks like our opponent just pointed at that one out there. So Perfect Strike Gundam states, when deployed, choose one enemy unit, 1 HP, return it to owner's hand. So there was nothing really returned with that. So anyways, 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 2, of course, leaving 1 damage point to the thing. It looked like I didn't see if they actually grabbed 1 card there. Sorry for that. I was looking at the Perfect Strike Gundam just to tell you all. And then we have the mining base coming down here. It's just a 6 health, just a vanilla 6 health base. We're going to go for the 𝐒𝐓𝐃𝐄𝐒 with a full frontal, pinging 1 remaining damage off of the that, and then we're going to swing in again. Oh, that is Marita Cruz. For some odd reason, I thought that was full frontal, but that's Marita Cruz's alt art there. So anyways, we're going to go for, again, the attack, the 𝐒𝐶 to hit the base there, and then we have a hit with, for unforeseen incidents, the alt art from the purple deck, because the ST05 was purple-white. So anyways, the 𝐒𝐶 does have the Marita Cruz on there, so we were able to kill the Launcher Strike Gundam, deal 1 damage to the Sword Strike Gundam, on swing, deal 1 damage to the Sword Strike Gundam, and then we were able to knock out the base there, and then we were able to full frontal the close combat the blocker off of the board, the Perfect Strike Gundam, so we didn't have to worry about it, and the 𝐒𝐶 was able to get in for 1. Very interesting gameplay we got here right now between these two. It could be very close either way. The aggro side, though, is running out of cards, though. They are not able to see much because, again, there is no draw engine in green or in red. There is no show of resolve. There is no overflowing affection. While those 2 colors got no draw support is beyond me, and why blue and white have all the draw support is going to always be beyond me. To me, if you're going to print 2 colors that don't have any draw support, please at least print them some. As we're going to go for the Freedom Gundam to put on the Kira. The Freedom Gundam, when deployed, can give -2 AP to a unit, and then Kira is going to give another -2 AP to that unit, and then immediately going to knock that 𝐒𝐶 out with the Marita Cruz under it, taking back 3 damage points from all of that, so keeping that quite alive. As we're going to go for the Perfect Strike Gundam, once again, no real thing to spin back. Again, we're just kind of trying to protect our freedom, even though technically it has 4 points left on it, and that 𝐒𝐶 cannot even think about killing it. So anyway, we're going to go for another mining facility, another mining base here, just so we can get 1 more health point. So we can just take another card from our life into our hand, just so we can get that draw. And then we're going to put out a 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 2, the alt art promo pack 1 from the Zeon Aggro starter deck. And then we have the 𝐒𝐍𝐶 2. Ooh, another Archangel down the board with 2 blockers fully up on the board, which means these blockers now are very lethal, because one of them can restand thanks to the Archangel effect, and I think both our players should be hitting their limit of 10 here. Anyways, we're just going to immediately swing off that base, and we'll use the Archangel to immediately restand the Freedom Gundam. Once again, the unit cannot attack again, as we see an L-Strike Gundam coming down onto the board. Do we have a possible Kira connection for it as well, so we can bounce back one of these units and force our opponent to have nothing? Ooh, no. Okay. Like I said, I feel bad, really bad. Unfortunately, as we hit our threshold of 10 now, there's not really much the Zeon deck can do. I think it's going to be outpaced here by the blockers. We're going to go for a Citizen's Cry, the Citizen's card, to allow us to, of course, gain the +2 AP. The 𝐒𝐶 2 swinging in, getting the extra +2 AP. Here, as a reminder, everything here will physically die to all of these units on the board, and the base gets killed off by any one of these, either the 𝐒𝐶 or the 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 2, but every unit will have to die out here. So anyways, the 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 2 is going to die. We're going to look top 3, grab a Zeon unit. I believe the 𝐒𝐶 is not a Zeon unit. No, he is. It is a Zeon unit. It's a Neon Zeon. It's a Neo Zeon unit. So it's not actually a Zeon unit. Again, missing that. Anyways, we're gonna go for the 𝐒𝐶. We are gonna go for unexpected the incident here, and that's mainly going to be able to give the -2 to that. So that is going to be unable to actually, or no, -3. So that is only going to deal 2 damage to the Archangel, leaving it on 1 health point left here, because again, it only deals back when it's used out of hand. It gives a unit -3 AP per turn. So that 𝐒𝐶 only did the extra 2 damage it was getting from the Citizen's card. So this is still very much up in the air. The blocker deck does still have up Archangel, which, like I said, is not something you ever want to see up on Archangel. So anyways, we're going to go for the effect of we're going to go for the Sword. We're going to give -2 AP to, of course, the 𝐒𝐓𝐃, and then the effect of the Sword Strike Gundam is we're going to kill off the 𝐒𝐓𝐃 here. So we will only take 1 damage point here, and then we're going to bounce back the other card, back the Charzaku 2 unit that makes a token on death. And then we're immediately going to put down an Aerial Strike, and then strike, of course, the shields with the Freedom Gundam, paying the 2 to restand it. And I just do not see any way out for the Zeon Aggro strategy here, as we go for, of course, a Sanju, but unfortunately without a Char. That's going to be much. Ooh, Charzaku 2 did get a Char on it. It does have high maneuver here, so it cannot be physically blocked because of high maneuver. So we're going to immediately knock out the Archangel, but I think that's going to be a little just too late here for it. Very too late. Even if you did survive this coming up turn, there's not much else you can really do. There are 3 bodies, and you only have 2 shields, unless one of your shields is, of course, a base here. So we're going to go for the 𝐒𝐓𝐃. 𝐒𝐓𝐃, I believe, was trying to go after the Sword Strike Gundam to try to knock it out of the board. The problem is there's still 2 blockers that can easily just take it out. The L Strike can only take back 3 damage, and that is it. Unfortunately, without the full frontal for the Sanju, there's not much else you can really do with it, as both sides have reached their 10 card limit here. So we're just going to have to see. I really do think that blockers just was too much for it. Again, once the blocker deck just gets set up, there's really not much you can do. Wow, it was really cool that the Citizen card was a great way to deal with all of those blockers, as our players look like they are either talking with something or doing something else. So it doesn't look like, I mean, really, the game is pretty much a set match here. The Sword Strike can't spin anything back to hand, but that's kind of not really impactful here. I believe the blocker side only has like a resource standing. So anyways, we're going to go for the Charzaku 2. We're going to give it the -2. We're only going to be able to take back the 3 there, but we're still going to get killed up. And then we're going to swing in the Sword Strike Gundam onto the shields, bounce back the Charzaku 2 token, and then immediately going to get a Shamblo there in the shield, so not much we can really do. And then we're just going to pass a turn here. I mean, there's 1 shield left. We're going to go for the full frontal. We did draw a full frontal, maybe just a turn too late. Again, the Shamblo does get high maneuver, but there's really not much you can do. We're going to use the full frontal to immediately kill off the Freedom. But again, you're just way too late on that full frontal being able to really do much here. You only have 1 shield up. Unless that shield is a base, there's not really much else you can really do here. The game is definitely in the favor of the blocker strategy. And like I said, an aggro strategy, you basically need to win the game there. So that game will go to there, as the flipped card was a Char. It does suck really when any Zeon Aggro, I played only like 1 version of Zeon Aggro, green-blue. It really does suck we don't see your Chars, and this deck can run out of cards very fast, very quick, because it burns through so many of them. Your hand just gets whittled. But again, that feels like what the Gundam card game sometimes into. Even the decks like blue and white, the colors blue and white that get the draws, sometimes you are going to end up in those game states where, because you play a couple units and a pilot, you lost 3 cards there. Even a recursion of draw 2 still gives you a -1 if you take 3 cards out of your hand. So there are times where I think this game does get into that game state of, well, unfortunately, you're just kind of lost out of cards and stuff. And some decks like that just struggle to get the win. But nonetheless, I want your thoughts down in the comments, guys, on the gameplay. Have you ever tried out blue-white Freedom blockers? Or have you ever tried out Zeon Aggro? Red-green, or blue-green? Tell me which version you think is the better version. I think blue-green is the more competitive version of the deck, because you get armor arrays, you get gun tanks, you get Anshas, you get OG Papa Gundam, so you get all of that. That's really good. You get the draw 2 in Show Resolve. I think that is the better one, but I should not scoff at the red one, because you do get Marita Cruz here. You do get some really good units, and the 𝐒𝐓𝐃, the Sananju, the Shamblos we saw here. I mean, it's still really good aggro strategy with that Zaku 2 unit that gets a +2 AP, so immediately is able to kill off any EX base off the board if your opponent isn't respecting it. And again, the problem is it runs right into a blocker strategy. And once a blocker strategy starts picking up steam and starts grabbing all its units, and I think Sword Strike is definitely something that this deck hates with a passion, because it can't keep its stabilization of the units. Remember, all units come in with summoning sickness attached to them. So unless they are linked with their Pacific named pilot, linked with a pilot either specifically named or with the title part of it, like Sword Strike just needs an Earth Federation unit, or no, an Earth Alliance unit. Earth Alliance, because Earth Federation would be on like armor array, and you can't armor array a Sword Strike Gundam. Earth Alliance under it. So that's why Sword Strike Gun is really good with like Kira and then Mugaflaga. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you tried either of these decks out, your thoughts on them overall. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can notify when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Mom Dragons TCG.